Now, okay, so we got our type of first ether insoluble component, which is neutral in nature. Okay, so write down your result that all about tests are negative. Hence the type of the ether insoluble component is neutral. Okay, so first type you got your neutral component in your hand. Now we have to separate. First, we have to check out the type of the ether soluble component. Okay, so now you have filtrate in your hand. Okay, after filtration of ether insoluble part, you have collected your filtrate in test tube. So that part you have to take that part. Okay, so 5 to 7 ml ether, and you have to take, then in that ether solution you have to add 10% sodium bicarbonate solution. Okay, so here I have given here how what to do and how to go for the type determination of remaining two ether soluble component which is present in currently in ether. Okay, so that ether we have to take, and in that ether we have to add 10% sodium bicarbonate solution. You have to check that one. And here yesterday I have told you that all these things we have to do in separating funnel. Okay, so take separating funnel, transfer your ether in that separating funnel. Okay, then add 10% sodium bicarbonate. Okay, 10% sodium bicarbonate solution, and check that will stopper that separating funnel, and then check that separating funnel, and then you will get two different layers. Okay, two different layers, one layer is ether layer and one layer is aqueous layer. So after once you got the two different layer, then you have to separate these two layer. Okay, so take out aqueous layer in one test tube, and keep aqueous layer or ether layer in separating funnel as it is. Okay, so you have now separated aqueous layer, and that means if your acid is present in your soluble part. Okay, so it could be presence of acid in your ether soluble component. Ether, so any out of these two component, one component may be acid. So if acid is present in your ether, so then that one will react with sodium bicarbonate to form carboxylate ion. Okay, so this carboxylate ion, as that one forms carboxylate sodium carboxylate ion, and that one is salt form, so salt form will automatically come into the aqueous layer. Okay, so your acid is changed to the sodium salt, sodium carboxylate, sodium salt, and that salt is soluble in water aqueous layer, and this aqueous layer is now in your hand. That means you have to take out from that separating funnel. So this aqueous layer, if your acid is present, by neutralization with dilute HCl, okay, 1 or 2 drop of dilute HCl, you will get precipitate formation if your acid is present. That means your sodium salt of carbonic acid will neutralize with HCl, and if once that were neutralized, you will get precipitate formation in that your test tube. And if you got precipitate formation, definitely your acid is present, and in this mixture acid is present. Okay, so you got your second component, which is acid and which is ether soluble. Okay, so here up to now we got that our ether soluble component in our hand. Now still one component we have to identify. Okay, so we have still ether layer in our hand, that means organic layer. So in that organic layer, next test we will go for whether phenol is present or whether base is present. Okay, so still we have three, whether phenol is present or whether base is present or neutral is present. Okay, so we have to check out for three things. Okay, so in that organic layer, in that ether layer, again we are going to add, okay, 10% NaOH solution. Okay, so now we are going to check out whether phenol is present or no. So 10% NaOH we are adding, that means we want to form sodium salt of phenoxide. Okay, sodium salt of phenol, that means phenoxide. So if we will add 10% NaOH to that ether layer, aqueous NaOH 10%, so this sodium NaOH will form, NaOH will abstract proton and it will form phenoxide ion, and as that phenoxide ion will automatically soluble in water. Okay, so again we will get two layers, aqueous layer and organic layer. Okay, so again what we will do, we have to separate this aqueous layer and organic layer. So here we have taken out from the bottom of the separating funnel, we have taken out aqueous layer. Okay, so before we have to take out aqueous layer, we have to check that separating funnel properly. Okay, so any phenol present in ether layer, it will come out in aqueous layer by shaking. Okay, proper shaking. And once we got that aqueous layer, so if phenol is present in sodium salt, okay, in form of sodium salt. Then this sodium salt we have to break out by adding concentrated HCl. Okay, so here we will add, if we will add concentrated HCl, and we have to check out the acidity with litmus paper. Okay, so if at litmus paper is changing, litmus paper is showing changes, and if there is precipitate, then phenol is present, and if there is no precipitation, phenol is absent. Okay, so here we didn't get precipitation, so here phenol is absent. If we will get here precipitation, then phenol is present. See, here is one trick. If your acid you have taken out first acid, and if your small amount of acid is still remaining in your ether layer, okay, and you didn't give washing with water on that for that ether layer, and you didn't give washing of that ether. Giving washing with ether means you have to add again 1 ml of ether in that uh, mm, sorry, not here, we don't have to give washing here, we have to give washing here only. Okay, so here is aqueous layer we have taken out. No, again we have to add 2 to 3 times water again in that mixture. Here again this aqueous layer we have to take out 2 to 3 times, again we have to collect the aqueous layer in the same test tube, and then this aqueous layer we have to treat with the HCl to get acid precipitation. Okay, so here only we have to give washing 2 to 3 times washing with acid, with sorry, with water, and we have to take out that water from the ether layer. Okay, so here if remaining amount of, if any trace amount of acid is present in ether, that means here in this organic layer, it will come out again in aqueous layer. Okay, so if here your some of acid is present in this organic layer, and if you will add this NaOH, this acid will also form again sodium salt. Okay, and this could give here in aqueous layer. Okay, it will come again in aqueous layer, your acid form, it will come in aqueous layer, and it can form sodium salt. And if you will treat with this as HCl, it can give again precipitation here also. That means here you can get misleading. That means if your acid is present, that acid can come here up to here, and it can show precipitate formation. And this here there may be confusion can occur, and you can misunderstand, okay, my component has having phenol component. Okay, so before to come to here up to here aqueous layer, to check out the phenol is present or no, so you have to take out all acid present in your ether by giving washing 2 to 3 times with water. Okay, so this thing you have to do, and then go for the phenol is. Then if you do, if you have done if you have given washing to the ether layer, then here if there is no phenol is present, then here definitely you will get here negative test, no precipitation, so you can say phenol is absent. Okay, if you got your phenol is absent, then we will go for the base, if there is base is present or no. Again we have our organic layer still in our separating funnel, again to check out whether base is present or no. So check out the base, that means we have to form salt first of that base, so we will add again HCl. Okay, so we will add HCl. So after addition of HCl, we have to form the, that base will form, if NH2 group is present, that means aniline is present, NH2 will pick up proton from the HCl, and it will form salt of NH3 plus. Okay, so NH3 plus, that one is soluble in water, it will comes in aqueous layer. Okay, if your base is present, once it will come in aqueous layer, take out the aqueous layer, again you can add some more water, again check that well, that separating funnel, take out water, again add some water to this ether layer, again check that properly, and again take out aqueous layer. So like that you have to do 2 to 3 times, and you have to collect those filtrate. And again now if you have base, then to reprecipitate the base, that means we have to break that salt form, NH3 plus form, and we have to bring that our basic component in its original position. So we have to neutralize that one with alkaline solution. Okay, we have to add 10% NaOH. So this NaOH will break that salt form NH3 plus, and if your base is present, it's showing precipitate formation. So here we got precipitate, so here our base is present. Okay, so in this way you got acid is present and base is present in this ether soluble component. That means whatever two types you got here, two remaining types which are ether soluble, so here you got. So remaining organic layer, as you are not nothing to do with organic layer, you can discard this organic layer. Okay, so overall what things you got in ether insoluble part, you got with litmus paper, you have to check this one. So there you got neutral component, one component which is ether insoluble, that one is neutral, and remaining two which are ether soluble, you got one is acid and one is base. So you have to write the type of the given mixture is acid plus base plus neutral, and you have to show this type to your examiner, and for this type detection you have total 5 marks.